Yeah, just a bit, yeah.
My name's Dave Harte. I'm Economic Development Manager at Digital Birmingham, which is a project within Birmingham City Council.
And we're here with the IDA today to talk a bit about timely information for citizens and what's happening in Birmingham. So how did that project come about in Birmingham with you?
It was a project that was actually sparked by an idea from a local businessman who runs a digital media company, and thought we should do something around Birmingham as an open data city. And I thought that was interesting, and took that and thought, wouldn't it be interesting to combine that with kind of social media activities that are happening in the city. We're a very vibrant city for social media, our social media scene, and try and combine the two and see what we get. So we ended up with a project which used social media to engage with citizens, identify their needs, and then see if we could pair that up with an active computer technologist hacking community and see what we resulted in. And in the middle of that is, let's find some interesting data to play with as well.
And you're saying a little bit about why Birmingham is such a good place to do it and how it's almost easy to run the project. Can you just expand a bit on that?
There's two reasons why Birmingham is a good place to do this. One is there's a culture around sharing, and what's interesting is that culture exists not just between potentially competing SMEs sharing ideas and knowledge, but also between business and public sector, individuals like myself. I'm not alone. And also between universities and public sector and business. There's a group, a rapidly expanding group, who kind of all know what we all do, and we're willing to talk things through, willing to share ideas. So that's a key aspect. And then I think the other bit is that we've got a group of people who are active in the social media scene who have a social conscience, or so it seems. These guys want to get out there, they want to spread the word around what social media technologies can do. There's no doubt, I think, that they're building up their own expertise in doing that, building a potential market for this kind of service. But boy, the outputs of them reaching out to citizens and community groups and teaching them about how interesting the internet is just fantastic and kind of unique, I think, to Brum.
And what's actually happening on the ground? What's been started already?
So there's already, since the end of last year, a lot of what we call social media surgeries. So these are active bloggers going out, talking to community groups. It was initially based around the city centre, around Digbeth area near the city centre. Now that's spreading out a bit. In fact, it's spreading out to other regions, which is interesting. But it's spreading out within the city's suburbs. We noticed it'd be picked up by an Australian website about a model for engagement for some of the stuff I think it was happening in Sydney. So I think we're doing lots of interesting stuff. I think the next stage now is to talk about it as a model of working and more articulate its benefits, and see if it can get picked up by other areas, other cities, other international regions.
And you mentioned you thought that Digital Britain might have got it wrong, saying that government services weren't the reason why people get online. How do you think that fits in with the timely information for citizens?
What was interesting, Lord Harte came to talk in Birmingham, and he said the key things in this report are the idea that we're going to have to digitally participate, whether we like it or not, really. And the end report had a big chunk about government services and public service and how that can provide the push, because some services you have to engage with through the computer that you used to have other means. Now, I think that's fair enough, but actually what I see around in forums to do with train spotting or running or gardening or any of those kind of things, I see loads and loads of users, and I think people are participating online because of the stuff that interests them for all sorts of reasons. I think you might see a flourishing of services around e-democracy, but that's going to interest those people who are interested in democracy per se, or interested in tackling democracy in new forms. But I think just the stuff I see in my own interest around running the vibrancy of that digital community in experimenting with technology, with applications, mobile applications, discussing them on forums, using gadgets, that's a real vibrant digital culture, and we shouldn't forget that. That can be a driver for participation as well. How does that relate to timely information for citizens? I think we won't be narrowly thinking about our projects as being e-democracy projects. I think we'll have some really interesting and potential fun things in there as well. We had a brief conversation with the library, which I didn't talk about in the presentation, about wouldn't it be interesting to find out what people in one suburb are reading versus another suburb. What are the tastes of literary Birmingham like? And what we need to find out is the data about that? How do we get it? How do we get borrower information data and stuff like that?
And where can people find out more about what's going on?
What we've done is we've set up a website totally at arm's length from the city. It's not run by me, it's run by one of the guys who've got working on the project, Nick Booth, who's part of a company called Podnosh. Nick set up a site for us called bevocal.org.uk, and that'll tell you two things. It'll tell you the interesting story about social media in Birmingham, what's happening about active citizenship, and it will tell you what's happening in this project. As and when we find interesting data, we'll try and see if we can get it on there. As and when we do interesting demonstrator projects, we'll get it on there as well.